Hi and welcome to Miss Daisy Patterns. Today I'm going to be making this Swaddled Sock Bunny. Right, so let's get to it. For this project you're going to need a pink sock, a white sock, some hand sewing thread, some black embroidery thread, a piece of felt, some craft filler, a scissors, Sharpie marker, pencil and some needles. Well, a needle, okay, right so. Now to begin with, what we are going to start with is the white sock and the pink sock. The white sock you just need to take the toe section off, so you cut along there, and the pink sock you cut straight along there. Right. This project is really good as well for using up leftover pieces of previous sock projects. Right, so you take the pink section and you turn it inside out, and the white section you just fluff it out a bit and leave it for the moment. Right, then taking your Sharpie marker, just draw along exactly like I've done here, and then using needle and thread with a knot at the end, you're going to backstitch all the way along here. Right, so backstitching all the way around. Great. Right, and once you've finished backstitching all the way around, if you just cut off the excess section and you can leave that aside, and then turn the swaddle section right side out. Brilliant. Now the next step is to fill. Now you'll find that you will use a fair bit of craft filler, so what I like to do is I have a wad of it with me. So you fill the head section first, no need to sew or anything, and then you fill the swaddling section. Now we'll use quite a bit, so just keep pushing it in there. Great. Now you leave the top section unstuffed because you're actually going to be putting the face into that. That's exactly what it looks like. Then taking needle and thread again with a knot at the end, you're going to work a back stitch attaching the swaddle section to the actual face. So that's it, back stitching all the way around here. Right, so that's that in place. If you'd like to check the stitches just to make sure everything's there, then we move on to the heart and the ears section. So if you take that piece of felt that you have and you're going to cut it into roughly 1/3 and a 2/3 section. So leave the 1/3 section as alone for a few minutes, and then on this section we're going to cut out the heart. Right, so now you can either freehand cut it, or I have included a pattern and I will link it below. And then just freehand cut out the ears. So basically exactly like what I've done here. Great. So that's the ears. So that's the heart, that's the ears. Now to attach the heart onto the body, again you're just going to be using the thread with the knot at the end and a simple running stitch all the way around. So a running stitch right the way around. Right, and then to finish, a couple of stitches, and if you pull the thread out to the side and snip it off. And then the next step is we're going to be attaching the ears. So again, using the 2 strands of thread, this time without a knot at the end because you're going to be coming in through the head section to grab the ear, you're going to whip stitch the ears into place. So that's it, whip stitch the ears in. Great. Right. Right, and then the second ear. So if you just find the position of the second ear, what I like to do is rather than snip off the thread, I just feed it through into the position of the other ear and then whip stitch that ear in place. Great, so that's the ear on. Right, and again, taking the thread through the body and snipping off. Right, so that basically is the body of the Swaddled Bunny finished. Then it's just to fill in the face. So taking your pencil, if you draw 2 semicircles with 3 little eyelashes coming out from the outside of the eyes. Right, now I know it's very faint here, but when you do it yourself up close, you'll be able to see it. Right, and then taking 2 strands of the embroidery thread, the black embroidery thread, working a back stitch to fill in the semicircle. So working a back stitch all the way around. and then feeding back in to fill in the 3 little eyelashes at the base. Okay, so that's one eyelash. Then moving on to the second. Right, and then the third. Now I usually like to go over the stitches a few times, just because I like the eyes to be very defined. So I'll go back over them a few times. And then finally, because I have 2 or 3 lines of back stitching done, I usually like to wrap the thread, just literally stitch the thread around the lines of back stitching, so it actually gathers them together and it gives a very defined, clear line. Right, so I do that, and then generally I'll go back and do the eyelashes, just maybe 1 or 2 extra stitches on the eyelashes, just so they're nice and defined. I like them to be very seen. And then repeat that on the second eye. And when you're finished, if you pull the thread through out to the back, snip it off. Great. And that is the Swaddled Sock Bunny finished.